This house is dedicated to knowledge and to the spreading of knowledge. Elijah Muhammad inspired new thought, new mind, new way of civilization among black people. But he wanted a house from which a light could be lifted up to give guidance to all who would be guided as this world begins to close down. For the re-education and retraining of the black man and woman, but for the totality of the human family of our planet. Human beings need to be re-educated.
Peace, family. Welcome to the University of Truth, the Science of Relationships, where we explore relationships from a personal, a spiritual, and a psychological perspective. My name is Brother Harold, and as always, it's an honor and a pleasure to welcome you to the University of Truth. I have a great video for you today, but first of all, let me say thank you. As always, I'm thankful to you all for subscribing to the channel and being patient with me. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, thank you for tuning in. And please do subscribe to the channel and join us in this spiritual journey for the truth. Today's video is a great video. I'm so excited about the video in so many ways. It's a video about the journey of the sperm to the egg and as it relates to life and relationships. It's a great video. Let me give you a little history, because it's almost amazing as to how the video came together. Over the past month or so, I've been having conversations with my elders, personal conversations, as well as random conversations, which is what makes it so amazing, about loneliness, separation, detachment, life and death. The process of life being a part of death. And then I had one very, very powerful conversation that I want to go into in phase 6 of this video and make a very powerful point with that conversation. So please don't cut yourself short on that one. Don't want to hold you up, but there's a few other points that I want to make at the end of the video. I don't want to, again, say too much now because I don't want to taint your perspective. I want you to get what the video is intended for you to get, and then I'll make some other points again in phase 6 and at the end of the video. So once again, I thank you for subscribing to the channel and being patient with me. Enjoy the video.
Fertilization is the epic story of a single sperm facing incredible odds to unite with an egg and form a new human life. It is the story of all of us. During sexual intercourse, about 300 million sperm enter the vagina. Soon afterward, millions of them will either flow out of the vagina or die in its acidic environment. However, many survive because of the protective elements provided in the fluid surrounding them.
Hundreds of millions of sperm ejected into an acidic environment. Many flow back out and many die from the acidic environment. Many of us as adults enter into a world that is sometimes hostile. Life is up and down. Many fall back and become lazy and unproductive, and many succumb to the poisons of the environment, drugs, alcohol, and the like, even toxic relationships, resulting in a moral, spiritual, and an eventual physical death. Only the strong can survive. As there are protective elements in the fluid to help the sperm survive, mosques, churches, and community-based programs help in man's survival, guiding man towards the goal.
When a man approaches a woman, she should have an attitude that exudes self-respect, self-love, gravity, seriousness. She should be a God-fearing woman, understanding her divine purpose in life, knowing that she is the second self of God, his co-creator, for all life comes through her, and she will not violate those divine characteristics. When a woman has that type of self-worth and self-understanding, her energy will reject and destroy any man who is lazy and unproductive.
Next, the sperm must pass through the cervix, an opening into the uterus. Usually, it remains tightly closed, but here the cervix is open for a few days while the woman ovulates. The sperm swim through the cervical mucus, which is thinned to a more watery consistency for easier passage. Once inside the cervix, the sperm continues swimming toward the uterus, though millions will die trying to make it through the mucus. Some sperm remain behind, caught in the folds of the cervix, but they may later continue the journey as a backup to the first group. Inside the uterus, muscular uterine contractions assist the sperm on their journey toward the egg. However, resident cells from the woman's immune system, mistaking the sperm for foreign invaders, destroy thousands more.
We have overcome the immediate struggles, fears, and apprehensions of life. We now realize the world to be less hostile and easier to traverse. Proper training at home and abroad, a proper perspective of self and the goal, feeds the will to want to meet the goal. Although the environment is less hostile, there are still elements in the environment that will kill many. We must also understand that the world is the same. There will always be life's ups and downs or vicissitudes, the traps and poisons of all environments. Again, a proper perspective of self and goal allows us to rise above the traps and snares of the world. Man's ultimate goal is to be one with Allah God. Marriage and male-female relationships play a major part in that journey.
A woman now allows a man to enter her world, not in a sexual way, in a way of courtship, allowing the man to become more familiar with her and her world. She begins to help in the process of finding a mate. Although the woman is open and helpful, her guard is still up and will eliminate any man who may need too much help. Just as when the sperm began to swim along the walls of the cervix, seeking help from the woman's contractions, those killer cells would kill some of them. So while you may have been able to make it past phase 1, can you traverse phase 2? Or will you get weak and lazy and lean on the woman too much? Just as the cervix opens and the woman ovulates a few days out of the month, no woman should keep herself open to a man all the time. There must be a time for self-development in ways that would ensure a successful relationship when it comes.
Next, half the sperm head for the empty fallopian tube, while the other half swim toward the tube containing the unfertilized egg. Now, only a few thousand remain. Inside the fallopian tube, tiny cilia push the egg toward the uterus. To continue, the sperm must surge against this motion to reach the egg. Some sperm get trapped in the cilia and die. During this part of the journey, chemicals in the reproductive tract cause the membranes covering the heads of the sperm to change. As a result, the sperm become hyperactive, swimming harder and faster toward their destination.
As men, our ultimate goal in life is to become one with our God, the creator of all things. However, we oftentimes make decisions that lead us in a direction opposite our goal, ultimately leading us to death. For those who gain a greater knowledge of the potential self and God and make proper decisions moving into the next phase, find themselves closer to the God and begin to feel his presence in our lives, and our heads become energized by that knowledge, motivating us to race to the God. The beauty of life is that as long as we are alive, we have another chance to get it right, simply by making better decisions. Life is the sum total of the decisions we make. If you want a better life, make better decisions. Another day, another blessing.
Men will seek a sister's attention, but because she's so focused on fulfilling her life's purpose and developing herself into the woman God intended her to be, they fail. And that disappointment may lead many to go in another direction, thinking that there's something better over there. But for those who are persistent and focused on the goal, they will eventually get close. And be it a soft smile or a warm hello, it will spark their passion, increasing their desire to meet the goal.
At long last, the sperm reached the egg. Only a few dozen of the original 300 million sperm remain. The egg is covered with a layer of cells called the corona radiata. The sperm must push through this layer to reach the outer layer of the egg, the zona pellucida. When sperm reach the zona pellucida, they attach to specialized sperm receptors on the surface, which triggers their acrosomes to release digestive enzymes, enabling the sperm to burrow into the layer. Inside the zona pellucida is a narrow, fluid-filled space just outside the egg cell membrane. The first sperm to make contact will fertilize the egg. After a perilous journey and against incredible odds, a single sperm attaches to the egg cell membrane. Within a few minutes, their outer membranes fuse and the egg pulls the sperm inside. This event causes changes in the egg membrane that prevent other sperm from attaching to it. Next, the egg releases chemicals that push other sperm away from the egg and create an impenetrable fertilization membrane. As the reaction spreads outward, the zona pellucida hardens, trapping any sperm unlucky enough to be caught inside. Outside the egg, sperm are no longer able to attach to the zona pellucida.
Finally, I and my Father are one, and he pulls us into himself and forms what is called the armor of God, protecting us in a way that no false god or devil could enter our world. We seek refuge in him. His knowledge, wisdom, and understanding will take us safely into the next phase of life, developing us into the men he intends us to be. We should take God's perspective, his view. When we study the words of God, we are studying the mind of God. We express our thoughts through words. So it says the Word was God. By taking on his mind, we are being made in his image and after his likeness. We are being made into gods.
At last, contact has been made, and the man penetrates the mind of the woman with a wisdom that lifts and inspires her to be better, a knowledge that instructs and directs her to be the woman God intends her to be. The woman knows what he has endured to make that meeting and is satisfied. She pulls the man to her. They become one. And she forms a wall around their relationship, not allowing any man to approach her. The values, morals, and principles that she stands on become concretized in knowing that she has the man she needs to enter into the next phase of life.
Meanwhile, inside the egg, the tightly packed male genetic material spreads out. A new membrane forms around the genetic material, creating the male pronucleus. Inside, the genetic material reforms into 23 chromosomes. The female genetic material, awakened by the fusion of the sperm with the egg, finishes dividing, resulting in the female pronucleus, which also contains 23 chromosomes. As the male and female pronuclei form, spiderweb-like threads, called microtubules, pull them toward each other. The two sets of chromosomes join together, completing the process of fertilization. At this moment, a unique genetic code arises, instantly determining gender, hair color, eye color, and hundreds of other characteristics. This new single cell, the zygote, is the beginning of a new human being.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches about a circle of 24 God scientists, 12 major and 12 minor, mentioned as the 24 elders in the Bible. They are the us and the we of Bible and Holy Quran. They write the history of man by tuning in to the thinking of the people, and we walk into it. 23 actually does the work, and the 24th, Allah, is the judge. There are 23 chromosomes that make up man, male and female. The 24th is God. These chromosomes write the genetic makeup of our image and likeness by tuning in to the DNA of the parents. And it is by the mind, will, power, grace, and permission of God that we come to term. Just as we walk into the history that the elders wrote, we grow into the genetic code that the chromosomes formed. We were made perfect.
This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their names Adam, in the day when they were created. When God made man in his image and likeness, he made male and female, the masculine and feminine expression of himself. They were both given the title Adam. Sisters, a man will leave his parents' home in search of a wife. We have a mission to reunite the two expressions of God under the wisdom and principles of God, so that we become the us and we, and make a man or child in our image and after our likeness. We become gods.
And now the cilia in the fallopian tube gently sweep the zygote toward the uterus, where he or she will implant in the rich uterine lining, growing and maturing for the next 9 months until ready for birth.
Okay, family, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I enjoyed making the video. I think it was very informative, and I hope that it did spark some thought within yourself even greater than my perspective. One of the greatest things I have to say before I go into my closing points that I enjoyed about making the video is that when my wife first saw the rough draft of the video, she was so inspired that she said either you cut me in or you cut it out. So I had to cut her in, and I'm truly thankful. I think she did a great job in participating in the video, and I thank God for her, not just her participation in the video, but her participation in my life. Thank you. Love you. This video ends with the egg resting itself in the walls of the uterus, where it will begin the next phases of its life, developing into an embryo, into a fetus, and then a fully developed child. But I want to ask the question, what happens if that embryo decides it doesn't want to go into the next phase of being a fetus, or that fetus decides it doesn't want to go into the next phase of being a child. Or better yet, what happens if that child decides it doesn't want to be birthed into the world? It would bring about the death of not only the child, but the mother as well. So the child would have to be cut out. So let's bring this up to speed. We as parents should consider our homes as wombs, where we develop our children through the different phases of life: infancy, puberty, adolescence, all the way into adulthood, where we can then birth them into the world, motivated, healthy, and productive men and women. In closing, family, we're instructed to train our children up in the way that they should go, and when they're old, they will not depart from it. But what are the ways that we should train our children up? What are the ways that they should go? The ways that they should go are the ways of their nature, the ways of God. For we as men were made or created in the image and likeness of God. Therefore, we should function under the laws, the standards, and the principles of God. It says that a man will leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and they will become one flesh. That speaks to the nature of man, that he should go out and find a wife and begin a family of his own. So it says in the book of Genesis, listen family, it says, this is the book of generations of Adam. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam, in the day when they were created. See family, when God created man, he made male and female, the masculine and feminine expression of himself. And as men, it is our mission, it is our duty to go out in search of a wife, in search of our opposite expression, and become one, that we may produce a family, that we may produce children that would go out and do the same. Prophet Muhammad said that marriage is one half of faith. The other half is our relationship or our union with God. But the way we handle our marriage, the way we handle our relationship with our opposite expression is a testament to how we will handle our relationship and our union with God. So family, our responsibility is to teach our children to rely upon God, not upon us. To be self-sufficient and rely upon God, that they may go out into the world, again, healthy, motivated, and productive men and women. Lastly, family, I want to say that I truly do understand the fear and apprehension of loneliness and separation and detachment. But we have to understand that no relationship lasts forever. All relationships come to an end. The only relationships that we can consider to last forever are the relationships that we have with ourselves and with our God. But all relationships come to an end. But hopefully we could gain something from those experiences with other people that would make us better people as we move into the next phases of our lives. Understanding that our existence is only dependent upon Allah God. For he was with us in that hostile environment as we traveled that uphill journey. He was there. So our existence isn't dependent upon any person or any relationship. We existed by Allah's love, grace, and mercy before any relationship, and will exist after that relationship by Allah's love, grace, and mercy. So don't think that we can't move on. We have to learn to let the old phase of life die so that we can move on to the new phase, becoming better men and women. Also, family, recognize that we're here because we're winners. We overcame the odds, 300 million sperm racing to the egg, and only one could make it. And that one was us. So we've been overcoming odds from day one. We were born winners, family. recognize the power within. And I thank you for watching the video, for subscribing to the channel. If you haven't, please do so. And hit the like button.